And even then, I told myself it was temporary. I told myself love doesn't just disappear. I told myself people don't throw away years like that. I didn't know I was about to be proven devastatingly wrong. When she said she needed space on Christmas Day, I thought it meant a few days, maybe a week. I didn't realize space meant I was already being replaced. That night, she slept facing the wall, didn't touch me, didn't say goodnight. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe, wondering how someone can emotionally leave before physically walking out. The next morning, she barely spoke. No tears, no anger, just cold detachment. "I'm going to stay at my sister's for a bit," she said, while packing a small duffel. "For how long?" "I don't know, I just need clarity." Clarity, like I was a fog in her life. When she left, the apartment felt wrong. Too quiet, too big. I kept expecting her keys in the door, kept checking my phone. Nothing. The first 2 days, she texted like normal, surface level things. "Did you feed the cat? Don't forget trash day." It was surreal. How do you go from living intertwined lives to logistics? On December 30th, something shifted. She stopped responding quickly, then stopped responding at all. That night, I made the mistake of checking her social media. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect to see her tagged at some New Year's Eve party with a guy I didn't recognize, his hand around her waist, her head tilted toward him, smiling. Not the polite smile she gave me at Christmas. This was bright, open, free. I stared at that photo until my chest started to ache. It was New Year's Eve, 6 days after telling me she wasn't happy. I texted her, "Are you seeing someone?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "I don't owe you explanations." I felt my stomach drop. "We've been together 4 years." Not anymore. That was it. Cold, transactional, like we were negotiating a lease. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she called. Not emotional, not apologetic, practical. "I'm moving out January 2nd. I'll come by when you're at work." "Wait, so that's it?" I asked. A pause. "I think this is best." "Who is he?" Another pause. "That's not the point." Which meant yes. I wanted to yell, to beg, to demand answers, but instead I said something I hate myself for. "Was any of it real?" She exhaled like I was inconveniencing her. "Don't do this," and hung up. January 2nd, I came home early. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. The apartment door was open, boxes everywhere, and him, standing in my living room, holding one of her bags. He looked at me like I was an interruption. She froze when she saw me. For half a second, I saw something flicker in her eyes. Guilt. Then it disappeared. "This wasn't how I wanted you to find out." "Find out what? That you moved on in under a week?" "It wasn't like that." "It looks exactly like that." He awkwardly stepped toward the door. "I'll wait outside." Good, because if he stayed, I might have done something stupid. I turned to her. "Tell me the truth." She crossed her arms. "We've been drifting for months." That's not an answer. I didn't plan this. It just happened. Just happened? Like tripping and falling into someone else's bed? "On New Year's Eve?" I asked. She didn't deny it. Silence is confirmation. I felt my humiliation flood through me. Not just heartbreak, humiliation. Like everyone else knew before I did. Like I was the only idiot clinging to something already dead. "You could have told me," I said quietly. She looked tired. I didn't want a scene. A scene. 4 years reduced to inconvenience management. She finished packing, walked past me, didn't touch me, didn't hug me, didn't say goodbye. The door closed, and just like that, my life split into before and after. The next few weeks were a blur. I deleted photos, then restored them, blocked her, unblocked her, stared at old messages where she called me her forever. My friends started asking questions. You okay? Something feels off. Apparently, I looked hollow. One night, my best friend Marcus sat across from me at a bar and said, "Bro, this isn't normal." What isn't? The speed, the detachment. It feels like she was gone before she left. That hit, because I knew he was right. I started replaying everything: the phone guarding, the late nights, the distance. How long had I been competing with someone I didn't know existed? I wanted closure, but closure requires honesty, and she wasn't offering any. After 40 days of no contact, I was finally stabilizing, not healed, but functioning, sleeping more than 3 hours, going to the gym again, eating. Then I saw her. That gray afternoon. She was walking toward me on the sidewalk. Same coat, same walk. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was it, the moment where she'd at least acknowledge we shared a life. She looked up, our eyes met, and her face, nothing. Not cold, not angry, just blank. Like I was a stranger asking for directions. She didn't slow down, didn't nod, didn't blink differently, just walked right past me. I felt heat rush up my neck. My pride screamed, "Say something! Ask her why! Ask her how!" But my body kept moving. One step, two, three. I waited for her to turn around, for some sign that it mattered. I turned first. She didn't look back, not once. That hurt more than finding out about the other guy. Because cheating can be explained by weakness, rebounds can be explained by distraction, but indifference? Indifference means you've already rewritten the story, and apparently, in hers, I was never significant enough to acknowledge. That was the moment something inside me cracked, not loudly, but permanently. Seeing her walk past me like I was invisible did something I wasn't prepared for. It didn't just hurt, it destabilized me. For 40 days, I'd been telling myself a story that maybe she was confused, maybe she felt guilty, maybe she just didn't know how to face me. But that look, or lack of one, erased all of that. She wasn't confused, she wasn't conflicted, she was done. And the worst part? She looked peaceful. That night, I sat on my couch in the same apartment we used to share and finally let myself break. Not the dramatic kind, no screaming, no punching walls, just quiet collapse. I stared at the Christmas tree I never took down, still standing there like some sad monument to the day everything ended. I thought about Christmas morning, the necklace, her flat thanks, the way she already seemed halfway out the door. How long had she been rehearsing her exit? How many times had she looked at me and already known I wasn't her future? That question haunted me, because if she emotionally left months ago, then I'd been loving someone who was already gone. That realization was brutal. I wasn't dumped on Christmas. I was just the last one to know. The next week was heavy. I stopped romanticizing her. That was the first shift. Up until then, I'd been replaying our highlights, beach trips, inside jokes, the way she used to fall asleep mid-sentence. But now, new memories surfaced. The dismissive tone, the eye rolls, the way she'd say, "You're too much sometimes." The way she'd withdraw affection during arguments like it was currency. I started asking myself harder questions. Why did I apologize so much? Why did I accept feeling small? Why did I equate her mood with my worth? That's when something uncomfortable surfaced. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was addicted. Addicted to her validation, addicted to fixing things, addicted to the hope that if I just loved harder, she'd soften. And when she withdrew, I panicked. Not because I lost her, but because I lost the version of myself that existed in her approval. That realization hurt in a different way. It wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about self-abandonment. I'd ignored red flags to keep peace, shrunk myself to avoid conflict, swallowed discomfort to stay chosen. And she knew it. Not maliciously, maybe, but she knew I wasn't going anywhere. That kind of security can turn into power, and power in the wrong hands turns into indifference. One night, Marcus said something that stuck. "You're not grieving her, you're grieving the future you imagined." That hit, because I wasn't just mourning a person, I was mourning plans, vacations we talked about, the house we browsed online, the dog names we joked about, and the identity of being us. Letting go of that felt like letting go of a version of myself. But here's where the awakening started. I stopped checking her social media. Cold turkey. I deleted the last photos, not angrily, but intentionally. I rearranged the apartment, moved furniture, changed the bedroom layout. It sounds small, but psychologically, it mattered. I wasn't living in a shrine anymore. I was reclaiming space. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I sat alone, no TV, no phone, and asked myself, if she never comes back, who are you? The silence was uncomfortable, because for 4 years, my identity was intertwined with hers. Boyfriend, partner, half of a unit. But alone, I felt undefined. That scared me, but it also sparked something. Maybe this wasn't just loss. Maybe it was exposure. Exposure to the fact that I'd been tolerating things I shouldn't, that I mistook intensity for intimacy, that I confused emotional roller coasters with passion, and maybe her walking past me wasn't cruelty. Maybe it was clarity. She showed me exactly who she was in that moment, detached, unbothered, unmoved, and instead of chasing an explanation, I started accepting it. Because sometimes closure isn't a conversation, it's behavior. I replayed that sidewalk moment again, but differently, not as humiliation, as data. She didn't look back, so why was I? That question shifted something fundamental. I realized I was waiting for her to validate the years, to acknowledge them, to prove they mattered. But what if they mattered because I lived them, not because she confirmed them? That thought felt empowering, painful, but empowering. The breakup itself, the official one, came a week after she moved out. We met at a coffee shop to talk. She looked lighter. I looked tired. "I think we both know this isn't working," she said. "Both?" I wanted to laugh, but instead I nodded. "You moved on fast." She stiffened. "It's not about him." "It kind of is." She sighed. "I didn't cheat. You emotionally checked out." Silence. She didn't argue. That told me everything. "I hope you're okay," she added. That line almost broke me, because it sounded rehearsed, polite, distant, like something you say to a coworker leaving a job, not someone you built a life with. "I will be," I said, and for the first time, I meant it. Not because I felt strong, but because I felt done. Not done loving her, done chasing her, done hoping she'd turn around. We stood up. There was no hug, no dramatic goodbye. Just two people who once shared a home, now sharing air for the last time. As I walked away, I didn't turn around. Not out of pride, out of peace. That was the awakening. I wasn't broken. I was finally awake. Awake to the imbalance. Awake to the red flags. Awake to the fact that someone who can erase you that easily was never fully yours to begin with. And strangely, that realization hurt less than clinging to hope. Because hope can keep you stuck. Clarity sets you free. The first real sign I was changing didn't come from a motivational quote. It came from boredom. One Saturday morning, about 2 months after the breakup, I woke up and realized something strange. I hadn't dreamed about her. That used to be every night, my brain replaying versions of us, rewriting endings, imagining apologies. But that morning, nothing. Just silence. And for the first time since Christmas, my chest didn't feel heavy when I opened my eyes. It felt neutral. That neutrality became addictive. I started going to the gym consistently, not the sad, angry lifting I'd been doing early on. Structured workouts, progress tracking, meal prepping. It wasn't about getting revenge fit. It was about control, about proving to myself I could build something, even if it was just discipline. 3 months in, my friends started noticing. "You look different," Marcus said one night. "Different how?" "Grounded." That word stuck. Grounded. For years, my emotional state depended on her mood. Now, I woke up and decided my day for myself. I picked up hobbies I'd dropped, started playing guitar again, took a weekend trip alone to Colorado. The old me would have waited for her availability. The new me booked the flight. And here's the part that surprised me most. I stopped fantasizing about her regretting it. That used to fuel me. Imagining her seeing me thrive. Imagining her realizing she lost something good. But somewhere along the way, that stopped mattering. Because I wasn't rebuilding to be seen. I was rebuilding to feel solid again. Then one night, around 5 months post-breakup, my phone buzzed. Her name. I stared at it for a full 10 seconds before opening it. "Hey, I've been thinking about you." "Of course you have." I didn't respond immediately. Old me would have replied in seconds. New me put the phone down. An hour later, another message. "I know things ended weird. I hope there's no bad blood." No bad blood. Like we had a minor disagreement over dinner plans. I typed. Deleted. Typed again. Finally, I sent, "I don't have bad blood. I just have boundaries." She didn't respond right away. Then, "That's fair." That was it. No apology, no accountability, just testing the door. And for the first time, I didn't feel pulled toward it. A week later, I saw something on social media. She'd broken up with the New Year's Eve guy. The comments were vague, something about learning lessons. I'd be lying if I didn't feel something, but it wasn't satisfaction. It was clarity. The speed at which she moved on from me, and then from him, told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't uniquely discarded. I was part of a pattern, and I stopped taking it personally. About 6 months after that sidewalk moment, I saw her again. Different street, different day. This time, she noticed me first, I could tell. There was a flicker. Not blank. Recognition. She slowed down slightly. I didn't. I nodded politely, the kind of nod you give someone from your past who no longer has access to your present. "Hey," she said quietly. "Hey." A beat of silence. The kind you used to feel unbearable. Now it felt complete. "You look good," she said. "Thanks." "You been okay?" That question would have shattered me months ago. Now it felt small. "I have been," I said calmly. She shifted her weight. "I've thought about reaching out more." I studied her face. There was something there this time. Not love, not longing, but curiosity. Like she was trying to assess whether the door was still unlocked. "It's probably better we don't," I said. Not harsh, not cold, just steady. She blinked. "Yeah, maybe." Another silence. The kind you used to feel unbearable. Now it felt complete. "I hope you find what you're looking for," she said. And I almost smiled. Because I already had. "Myself," I replied gently. And that was it. No drama, no raised voices, no emotional explosion. Just two people who once shared everything, now sharing nothing. As I walked away, I didn't check if she looked back, because it didn't matter anymore. That was the real comeback. Not muscles, not career wins, not her noticing me. The comeback was indifference. Not cold indifference, peaceful indifference. The kind where someone who once had the power to ruin your week now just occupies a memory. I realized something important in those months. She didn't erase the 4 years. She just detached from them differently than I did. People process attachment differently. Some grieve before they leave. Some leave before they grieve. She likely mourned us while still sleeping next to me. I mourned us after she was gone. That difference created the illusion that I cared more, but caring longer doesn't mean loving better. It just means I needed time, and I gave myself that time. Now, when I think about that sidewalk moment, her blank expression, I see it differently. It wasn't proof I meant nothing. It was proof she had compartmentalized, closed a chapter, and I had to decide whether I'd keep rereading it or write a new one. I chose the latter. The emotional justice wasn't her regretting it. It wasn't her coming back. It wasn't me proving anything. It was realizing I never needed her acknowledgement to validate my experience. What we had was real because I lived it. What we lost was real because I felt it. And what I rebuilt, that's real too. And this time, it's mine. How many of us stay too long because leaving feels like failure? How many of us ignore red flags because the alternative is being alone? How many times do we confuse comfort with compatibility? Sometimes the person who walks past you like you're nothing is the same person you once would have done anything for. And that hurts. But maybe the real question isn't, how could they erase me? Maybe it's, why was I waiting for their recognition to feel worthy? We hold on to acknowledgement like it's closure, like if they just admit it mattered, we can finally move on. But what if closure isn't something they give? What if it's something you decide? Was it love? Or was it fear of starting over? Was it chemistry? Or was it attachment? Was it meant to last? Or was it meant to wake you up? Because sometimes the person who breaks you is the one who shows you where you were bending too much. And sometimes being treated like nothing is the catalyst for realizing you deserve everything. If you've ever been erased this way, if someone you gave years to walked past you like you were a stranger, I want to hear your story. What would you have done on that sidewalk? Would you have called their name? Would you have demanded answers? Or would you have kept walking? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story hit close to home, subscribe to the Breakup Stories. Because every week, we tell the stories people don't say out loud, the raw ones, the uncomfortable ones, the ones that help you realize you're not crazy and you're not alone. And trust me, the next story, it might hit even harder. I'll see you there.